not heard your voice for a while now.
Yeah, I had been battling with malaria, but I'm better now.
Wow, sorry.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
In Nigeria, we have a lot of local herbs that kill malaria.
Yeah, that's right, sir.
Yeah, but malaria cannot kill us. We've been, it's part of us, have become part of us.
Yes, sir.
But
Yes.
thank God you are getting better.
Yes, I'm fine. I'm far better. This last week was hell for me, but I'm
I
better now.
noticed you are quiet. I know you used to be vibrant in all my classes, but you're a bit quiet. So I was going to call
Yes.
you to. So welcome everyone. Ernest, Nena, and Chi Ejima. I welcome all of you. Like I said, what I was saying before I started recording, I said that in data analysis is like a building block. You say we started from the basic. You think some of you might think some of all these things, small skills we are picking up from this Excel is not so important, but they are very important because you find out that as we keep on progressing, even as an advanced data analyst or experienced data analyst, you see some of these key skills, they will become very handy, in every day. So that is very important. All these things we've done, we'll go back to our note, practice it, until we can do it without looking at the notes. Is very, very important because as we are going to, more especially in today's lesson, you will see that we are going to be borrowing some leaf from all the things we'll be doing in order to clean up our data. So we are going to be doing, looking at data cleaning using Excel and spreadsheets. And yeah, after then, maybe tomorrow, then we'll do data formatting. So let's jump in. So, like I said, we're looking at data cleaning. When we talk about data cleaning is a critical step in data analysis. It involves preparing raw data for analysis by correcting errors, removing irrelevant information, and handling misleading or inconsistent data. Yes, because if we don't clean our data, it's going to give us wrong, the decision making we are going to be getting from the data we're analyzing. In so many cases, it will not even work. So we'll be getting a lot of errors while trying to do the analysis. And even if we manage to manipulate and do the analysis, the information we are going to be getting is going to be very misleading. So that is why it's very good to follow it sequentially, making sure that we clean our data before we start analyzing our data. So when we get the data from any data source, at that point is raw data. I need to be cleaned up. So we are going to cover removing duplicates, handling missing values, and using validation to ensure data consistency. So, and all the sections will be applying examples as usual. So this night, we are going to be focusing on removing duplicates and handling missing values. Let's look at, we know what duplicate data means. It can distort analysis. It's very, very important. We do remove it. So in our data sets, in so many cases, we see so many information, they keep appearing twice. Even in this, our boot camp, there is a time I asked students to fill in their information and find out that some students, submitted information up to 3 times, some 4 times, some 2 times. Why? Why they are submitting this data, they didn't know that they have submitted the data and they were still confused. Have I submitted? And they didn't want to miss out. So they keep submitting. And when you are analyzing the data using quick analysis, you would think that you have, like, let's say, for instance, in Lagos State, for the business analysis boot camp, you see that 500, or let's say 20 people are female. But the actual science, you find out that those that are female, some of those people you say they are 20, make it because of the value, you see the number of, so many of them submitted information 3 times. So when you clean data very well, you find out that instead of 20 people, they are actually around 15 people or even 10 people. That is the reason why it's very, very important. And again, in companies, if you are trying to submit sales data, information about sales revenue, if you don't clean your data, you are going to hang yourself because you might give wrong information. And when you give wrong information, when it comes to maybe what goes into the bank, you might find out that the actual value captured in the data might not be actual value that really goes into the bank. So even in the financial data, it's very, very important we clean it to avoid misleading information. So let's look at this data here. We have a lot of duplicate data here. So you see here, looking at March here, we captured this data twice on March. We captured March twice. We see here February, March, we captured March 3 times here. And here February, we captured February twice. And even in May, we captured May 3 times. June, we captured June 2 times. July 2 times. August. So you see, these are duplicated data, and we can't use it because this is the data quality is very poor. We can't do anything with this kind of data. It's very poor data. The data quality is extremely poor. So for us to use this data, for any decision making, it must be thoroughly cleaned. So how do we clean this data so that we can at least start analyzing this data? So that is what the first thing we're going to do tonight. To understand how to clean a data like this is very simple. Okay. And instead of another way we can do this is manual cleaning, but we know it's going to be difficult to clean this data manually. What if we have a data set like this, to have like 3,000 data sets in this form? Are we going to start scrolling and so it's not, by the time we'll try to scroll up and down and start deleting cells, like me here, I can say, let me start deleting all these cells. It might not be, before you know it, we might even started deleting some of the data that are not appearing twice, some of the data that are not duplicated. So that's why we have to do it professionally as a data analyst. So I'm picking this data to our spreadsheet where we're going to work on this data to clean this data. Then we'll come to our spreadsheet and so I've dropped this data here. That is it. So you see highlighted, you see this data is still highlighted. So what is the first step to do? So now we've highlighted all the data. That is the first step. Highlight the first data, all the data from A to F range. So from here to highlighted everything. We go to the data tab in the spreadsheet. And the first thing we need to do is click on the data tab as we highlighted it. If you go there, we'll click on it. So if you click on that, it's going to bring up this. You see data cleanup. From data cleanup, you will see cleanup suggestion. It will give you a suggestion. So you see, maybe you see it on how the system will help you to see how you are cleaning it up. Or if you don't want to go through that route, all you just need to do is remove duplicated data. And once you remove the duplicated data and you follow the dialog box, and you see that all the data that have been duplicated has been removed, and you click OK. And you see that all the data that is duplicated will be removed. So let's go to Excel and or our spreadsheet and follow this process and see how we're going to bring this data in a new form. So this is the tab here. Like I said, you click on it, then you scroll down, come down here, see data cleanup. You come over here, you see suggestions. Is either you follow these suggestions here for us to see, or you see here, you can just click here and it will remove all the duplicated data here. But let's follow the first process, which is data cleanup suggestion. We'll click on it. So it will open up a dialog box. If you come to this dialog box, look at the dialog box, scroll down, you see that all the data that all the duplicate data here are highlighted across. So it will tell you how many of them you are going to remove. This is the suggestion, remove duplicate. So you can just this is a bit manual, but you see is helping you, show you the whole picture of how your data is duplicated. So you can see it as well. Scrolling down, you see it here. So you can see. So you can follow this process and clean it up. That is number one. See the way? You can just come here, click on this, boom, and it will remove all these. Or we can come here and be removing it. This is a bit manual. So whichever way is better than we going to the data set, highlighting or clicking it manually. But with this, there is no way we can go wrong using this format. This is number one. Let's look at it. I'm going to remove duplicate. I'll click on this tick button here, and you see. Can you see here? All these, our data is cleaned up. You see now we have January to December, none of them is duplicated again. You can see it here. So that's it. Okay, that is number one. Let's go back, and all our data, all the dirty data will come back. You see, so let's do this manual process. You see here, I click on this. You see the one, this is a bit manual. I click on this. It's still a bit manual. You see, remove, 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 and remove. You see our data is cleaned, but all of us know that the first one is better because it's just on a click of a button, we've cleaned the whole data. Okay, let's try the third one. Trying to bring the data to the original state. Okay. Okay, that is it. Now, let's try to do this without following the suggestion. If we don't have time, we can just come over here and do this. We'll come over here. There's no need of clicking on suggestion. We just remove duplicate data here, and you see all the column highlighted, all the column here, all the data within all the column, all the duplicate data in this. We just highlight all of them, and yeah, that's it. And we click OK. Okay. So you see our data is trimmed down now. So that is how this is done, and it's very simple. Now this data can proceed to analyze very clean data. We can now take this data for analysis. It's cleaned. We can analyze this data. We can use Excel. We can start building pivot table. We can even start using Power BI to analyze this data. It's very clean now. So that's it about data cleanup, removing duplicates. That's what we've just done on this data. So, okay, that is it here. These steps will help us to do this very with not much stress. You can see the way we clean this data, very inconsistent data, very dirty. Now we've cleaned it up, it's very clean for analysis. So when this is removed, can they then proceed to analysis? Okay. So then the next thing we're going to look at is handling missing values. We've been able to remove duplicated data. This is data duplicate. We'll be able to do that. It's very simple, following the process. Then missing values. How do we handle missing values? Missing data can be problematic for analysis. You can either delete row with missing data, fill the gaps, or use other specific missing to, correct the data. But the point here is that you cannot analyze this data like this. You can see this data, it cannot be analyzed. And we've seen information like this so many times. So you see no cells in the month of July. But with this, it's going to be difficult to analyze this data because we don't know. So it's either we fill this with a value or we remove this from the, so it's either we delete or we fill it up with a value. We cannot leave it like this. We can't proceed to analyze this data in this form. It's a no, no, no. So, but the first thing to do is to identify these missing values. It's going to be difficult to, this is a very short data, a very small data. If you have a very large data set, you might not at a glance we see, we can see the missing value. Using example, the data set like we have up to 3,000 rows. How do we do that? Can we just, it's not going to be possible. So we have to use conditional formatting. So this is where you remember we did conditional formatting. So the conditional formatting will help us to capture the missing value at a glance, and then we can then work on that, knowing that actually there's a lot of missing values here. So let's get this data set into the Excel where we're going to work on it. We'll copy, go over here. So now we've that is the data here. So we can see. So let's look at step by steps on how to identification of missing value. That is the first thing. We need to acknowledge that there is missing values first. So what do we do using conditional formatting? It's very simple. With these 4 steps, we highlight the range and then go to conditional formatting and use this if condition, and then apply whichever color we want to use to identify the area that will have data missing. So let's go to the data, go to conditional formatting, and then can just do that. So what do we do here? We go to format. We click on format, then we go to conditional formatting, and then you see this range, you highlighted range of A1 to 13. And then what is the rule here? We're trying to get the empty data. If is empty, if that is a condition. If the cell is empty, that is what we are going to do. The other time you'll remember when we are doing is greater than, but this is if empty. So let's select empty. If it's empty, then what color? Give us red color. Let the red appear and we say done. And that is it here. So we can see the areas where we have missing values. So to solve this problem, now it's been very obvious that our data set is not clean. We have a lot of missing values. So two ways is either we remove, that is delete all the missing values. Wherever we have missing value, that is any data that is not complete, we remove the whole data row, or we fill it up with a value. So the first thing we are going to do is to delete the areas where we have rows where we have missing values. So let's look at the deleting rows with missing data. So looking at this here, we have to do, so the way we are going to do deleting the row is to use filter. Once you use filter, we should be able to delete where we have empty rows. Okay. You go to tab. Now we'll select the whole data set, and then we'll go to tab and select filter. It will create a filter, and from the filter we get to drop down, and from the drop down we should be able to get the number of this we want to delete. So it's not email. Okay, let's proceed. We already have this here. We go to data here and we create a filter. That is a filter here. That is filter. And from here, we'll select this. And then you see we've created a filter in all these. So we're going to do this cleanup column by column. We clean column A, then we clean this, and that's how we're going to do this cleanup. So the first thing is to this, select this, and we come to this in column A. Here you see clear all this. We clear all this. And we select the blank areas. Blank areas. You see it here. Click OK. And that is it. You see it's selected. This is A. Then we highlight on this and this, and we right click and we delete the row. So delete the selected row, and then we come back here, we select again, and we click OK. Now you see the column A is very clean. We'll come to column B, the same thing, and column C, the same thing. So that is how we are going to do it. So we finish that. We clear up. We select this, and then we say OK. And then we select this and we delete them. We delete, and we'll come back and select all. And you see our data is getting healthier, beginning to clean. And then that's how we're going to do it here again. And select only this blank. So we are selecting blank. So this is the one we want to delete. And say OK. And come here and select it for deleting. And we delete, say, delete selected row. And that's it. And we'll come back to the column. We select the remaining data here, select 6. And we say OK. And you see. So our data is very much clean now. So this data can now proceed for analysis. That's how we can actually do this, solve this problem. So all these have been done. Can see Uju and okay. Uju, you are raising your hand.
Yes, I wanted to ask a question. Good evening again.
Okay.
So in deleting the empty spaces, are we now also deleting some, like, because for example now, if we have for product C now, let's say we had empty spaces in maybe 2 of the columns, but product B and A also had figures there. So in deleting the whole row, are we not deleting some data already?
Yeah, we are deleting rows that, like in the month of January, we are deleting the rows.
Even though for other products they have some figures in there.
Yeah, well, just because the rows we are deleting is for if you check that the first time we delete is for the we said we are going to delete all the rows where the data is not complete.
Okay.
So we'll use that rows, every row. Like January, we mean that data in January, in January data is not clean. So we try to remove all the data in that month. All the months that their data is not clean, we're removing all the unclean data.
Right.
You know,
okay,
in
so
that month, even yes.
Okay, so this depends on what we're trying to find, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we might decide, like you see, the first time we can just pick only A and decide to, if January if we want to analyze product A on January, then we can just select only this, analyze them. But in this case, we're analyzing or trying to clean, because we're trying to analyze month by month. The sales data by month, and we don't want any month with inconsistent data. Whether other products have, that is why it's not complete, because in some months is inconsistent. We just want data with that is consistent. This month is not consistent, so that is why the data is not healthy for analysis, because it can give wrong, it can give misleading information.
Okay. I think I get
So,
it. Okay. Thank you.
another way is, if we don't want to do it that way, is to use a figure like 0, fill it up with a 0. And that way, might be better option, you know. So if you use 0, so that will be a better option. But deleting might be better when we're analyzing a particular product. I understand what you're trying to do.
Yes.
Yeah. But in a situation like this, where we're talking about the whole data set, then what we need to do is we use filling.
0.
We use a value to fill them up, and then so that we can be able to analyze them.
Yes.
At once. But it's very difficult because we're trying to give a single analysis of this data, and with all these inconsistencies, it's going to be difficult to analyze. So it depends on the situation. If it's a single product, what we are trying to say, I understand their point. When we are trying to, but here we have multiple products. So in a case of multiple products, the best way is filling with value like 0.
Okay.
So
okay. Thank you. That explains it now. Thank you.
Okay. And next.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So my own question is, you are using a Google Doc now. Is it the same way we can navigate it on Excel?
Yeah, we've talked about this before. This is what we're going to be using for now. When we finish, we can move. I can now be navigating towards different this thing. It's not gonna be. It's going to be difficult and time consuming. So, but whatever Google's sheet can give is almost the same thing with Excel, but this is what we are going to use for now. But because of some of you have made this point, we will try to touch base with Excel, but all these things we use Google products, and I'm sorry, but that is the way we've been doing it. And another thing is that most of the students, I want a situation where everybody can afford the technology we are using. So people will not say because I can, but we are going to go that. There's something we'll have to do so that everybody will be comfortable wherever you find yourself. But the main thing is not even the technology we are using. The main thing is understanding the application, the way we're applying it. So the only way is that it might be a little deviation from Excel and Google. I've done a thorough review of these two technology, and it's only few variation. So we are going to look into that. And as we've talked about this before, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
Yes. So let's be fast. What we need to do is just to try to be as fast as we can, so that we can touch all the technologies, So we are going to use Power BI. Power BI and the Tableau is almost the same thing. If you know how to use Power BI very well, there is no way you are going to struggle using Tableau. But we'll try to, use Power BI and use Tableau as well. So for the sake of, but if we try to touch all the technologies, it's going to be, then this is going to even last for up to 1 year. But we are trying to squeeze this to last within 3 to 4 months. So we cannot capture every technology. The main thing is to get us started as a data analyst. So it's a beginner course. We start from here and we continue to grow. There are so many complex analysis which we might not like using R programming, and we are not going to touch all those places. Are you guys with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we are.
All right. Let's go back to missing values again, how to fill it in. Being that, let's say we have multiple products. Now we see how we clean up some values or a missing value in product A and the affected some in product. So we are going to look at alternative way where we are not going to have any kind of confusion. So you see, what we're going to do is, instead of cleaning them up, deleting missing values, we're going to fill them up. And the value we are going to use to fill them up is not going to change anything because it's going to be 0. 0 is not going to add to any month, it's not going to remove to any month, but it's going to help us to be able to analyze our data, because if we have empty spaces, empty cells, is going to be difficult to carry out analysis on our data sets. Okay. So this is the state of our data set before we start, using filter method to remove all the areas. Let's look at how we can fill in the empty spaces, missing data with a value, so that we don't really have to delete anything. And the values we are going to use is not really going to add. So if we add a 0 here, add 0 here, add 0 here, is not going to, by the time we see the summation of products C, is not going to change the value. But with this 0 added, is going to help us to carry out a good analysis on this data set. So how do we achieve that? Filling missing values, like here, see it here. So this is the steps we are going to use to fill this missing value. The first is to highlight the whole data set, and then use a command or edit to find a replace dialog box, and then enter this code. This is the code we need to enter. With this code, we should be able to fill in the value, and then we add the value we want to add, and then we select replace using regular expression, and we should be able to please put yourself on mute so that we won't be able to so that is it. So what do we do now? Let's go highlight all our data, and we use Control H, or we use this edit to do that. Okay, say Control H. So this is how we can fill this. So there is this code we are going to use. We copy this code. Whenever you want to fill in, use this syntax and add it up there. And then replace with 0. And then search use regular expression and replace all. Let's see. So with this, we've added 0 to all the missing, and we can see here we don't have any inconsistent data again, and we click done, and our data is very much clean now. And even remove this conditional formatting, and our data set is clean. So this data is very clean now. It can be, you can proceed this for analysis. Now you see product A in the month of March, we have 0 here, means that there is no sales. In the June, there is no sales. But if we have just empty blank, it's confusing. It cannot be analyzed. So we don't know if that somebody deleted it. But with this, we've agreed that let's use 0 as a value so that we're able to analyze this. So we captured all this, and with this data we can start analyzing this data. We can start creating pivot table on this data. We can even use Power BI. You can use Tableau to analyze this data. And that is it. See, that's how we have covered this. So on this syntax, this particular code, this is how I've been using it. That's how I know about it. And I don't have much explanation to this for now, but this is the code we can use to be able to, no matter the value we want to add, even if we want to add any other value outside 0, we can use, you can, once we apply this code, as long as it's adding a value, is going to help us to add values to all the missing values. So that's it. Once we've done that, like here you see is clean, and then that's it. So we are not going to treat data validation tonight. That's what we're going to be doing by tomorrow. So we've successfully captured filling missing data with a value. We've captured deleting a row containing missing data, and we've captured identifying missing values using conditional formatting. We've equally captured removing data duplicates, and yeah, so that is all we've done today about data cleaning. So tomorrow we are going to be looking at data validation. Data validation is to make sure that when we validate, we make sure we don't capture like duplicate data or missing data. Is a way to make sure we don't capture wrong data or inconsistent data. So that is valid. By validating our data set is going to be difficult to capture. So, but we are going to talk about it tomorrow, like I said. So we still have some time so that if we have any question we want to ask, we can talk about it. Mr. Charles Okoye.
Okay, good evening, sir, and thank you for the class, sir.
Yeah,
my question is on removing rows.
okay.
That is data cleanup via removing rows. I have a
Yeah.
little problem with that because you see some rows, just like the question that the Uju asked. When in doing the analysis proper, you see that, for instance, you have 4 products. And out of the 4 products that you are going to analyze, maybe for the month of January, you see that there are 2 missing places in 2, maybe in A and in C. But B and D have values. So if you now want to do a critical analysis on the product for all the data, and you delete the entire row that also have values, how then can you capture the analysis for that particular month? I don't know whether I'm making sense.
Yeah,
How do you capture?
yes.
Because the other ones, because in that case you can now put 0. 0 is fine, but I don't really like deleting the entire rule, because unless the entire rule is blank,
Yeah,
you
know, that is why we have 2 techniques. So it's left for you to see which one that works. Like we said, I've responded to that question because this is exactly the question you asked. So but let me add more light on this. I said, I said that if actually what we are doing here is we don't have multiple products. That's what I said. If we remove this product B and product C, we are using single product. We are selling a single product, like this only product A. We can apply deleting the missing values. Are you getting it?
I'm getting it, sir.
Yes. But if we have multiple products, then the best technique is to apply filling the missing values with 0.
Okay, sir.
So that is what I said earlier. I've addressed this issue. So it's you finding the best technique. That's why we have different techniques. We have 2 types of techniques. Filling the missing value or deleting the missing value. So you choose which techniques that suit your data sets. If we have single products, all we need to do to get our data is just simple and delete the missing values, the missing data. Or we can add, even if we have single product, we can still add 0. But in a situation where we have multiple products, the best way to go about it is to fill the space with values that will not add anything or remove anything from the entire data set. That is 0. If you add 0 to all this data, it did not change anything. It's not going to add any value. If you calculate all the figures here after adding 0, it's not going to change. But adding 0 will help you to analyze the data very well.
Yes, sir.
So we have to use our level of expertise. This is what the technology can offer, but as a professional, everything is not automated, that once we press a button, everything will just, if it's that way, then there will be no need for us to use there's a time we have to use our ingenuity. That's why we're professionals. We do brainstorming. We apply brainstorming. We look at the data, you see, oh, this is multiple products. There is no way we can use data. We can use deleting the data set because it's going to affect some month, and so we have to just. But if we want to analyze the product, the month product by product, but it's going to take time, more especially if we are working on a large data set. After this, we'll then come to this, and so all we need to do, for me, the best approach is add a value that will not change anything, and that value is just 0.
Thank you, sir, for the answer. It's well explained.
Thank you. So, thank you, guys. And next, you see raising your hand.
Yeah. So I have a question, sir.
Okay.
In a situation we have a combination of number and letters, how do we go about that one?
Combination of letter
and figures. Something like, for example, plate number. If you want to separate the letter from the figure, how do we go about that, sir?
Then generate such data so that I will see it.
Okay. Maybe by tomorrow I will drop it for.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys for tonight. And like I said, tomorrow we are going to work on data validation. Data validation is to make sure we don't get, once we want to generate a data or capture a data, it's going to be difficult. We have a lot of data discrepancies because our data is not validated. So once the data is validated, it's going to, remove this headache from us as data analysts. And well, we'll talk about it tomorrow, like we said. So let's continue to practice. After this, we are going to then start working on company data set, applying everything we've learned. So.
Thank you.
All right. Good